everybody, this is Miles Luigi, and welcome to the post-Chapter 2, pre-Chapter 3 interlude in the Toad Town tunnels in the Mario Alone run. During this episode, I'd like to bring up something that a few people have noticed, but in case you haven't noticed, I'd like to point it out. The challenge Chapter 3 can give you if you don't unprepare for it in the context of this run. Now, I'll go into much further detail once we get in Chapter 3, but just to give an overview as to why some people have been going, oh my gosh, Chapter 3 is actually really difficult. It can be boiled down to a few couple points. I'll be fighting hyper enemies in Chapter 3 with no bow or out of sight. I'll also be fighting a super buffed Junior Troopa battle, which can actually be challenging even with partners and items, and I plan on doing that before entering the Gusty Gulch. And I have to fight a boss who also has a charge attack, no bow, no out of sight, oh yeah, and no super guarding, but you already knew that. Anyway, in this video, I enter the Toad Town tunnels, in which I pick up both Shrink Stomp and Power Smash. I also managed to buy Sleepy Stomp from Rolf. I would like to take a moment to actually talk about all of Mario's status ailment badges, because they usually don't see too much use from a player. Their effectiveness are limited in most regular encounters because there are at least 2 enemies on the field, and it can vary from anywhere from 2 to 4 enemies. Not always, but usually that is the range of the number of enemies on the field. And Mario's status ailment badges can only be used on a single enemy at a time. So unless there's a high priority target that you already know beforehand that's weak to a status ailment badge, they usually don't see too much use, in the regular field. And on the other hand of things, most bosses have limited weaknesses to the status ailment badges even though they stand by themselves. So put 2 and 2 together, since most players don't figure out enemies' weaknesses to the status ailment badges, and they're generally not strong against, when you fight one enemy at a time when they could actually see their most potential used, they really don't get too much use. However, as you already probably know, in the right situation, the status ailment badges can be lifesavers or godsends when they are used properly. And in the context of this run, the status ailment badges will make the difference from this run being only possible from close call luck to a run possible with just simple good strategies using those status ailment badges. I'll continue this point when I use both Sleepy Stomp and Shrink Stomp for Chapter 3. As for the Toad Town tunnels, both Blooper fights are pretty uninspiring and frankly boring, nothing but a jump fest and an occasional refresh. So before I leave you pigified and boredom, I'll babble verbosely about Spike Shield, a badge I forgot to mention that I picked up in Chapter 2. The badge is utilized at a cost of 2 badge points to allow Mario to execute his jump command on enemies with either spikes or teeth dangling above their head in a manner that normally doesn't allow Mario to execute a jump command on. The badge finds its greatest use in an attack-buffed badge setup that makes more use of Mario's jump command over Mario's hammer command, or against enemies who have a weakness to the jump, however carry spike or teeth on top of themselves and cannot be normally knocked over from a jump command of any kind because of said spikes or teeth. Was that verbose enough? Oh, before I forget, Slogo. Someone mentioned Slogo last part. Mario only has 1 Slogo badge. He's not a crazy Slogo guy.